is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your report shows that Medicare will now be bankrupt in 2024. Americans would then be forced to either endure a massive tax hike or an immediate 17% reduction in expenditures. In other words, an immediate 17% Medicare cut. Can you explain what you mean by immediate?
Well, the way that the trust funds work, both on the Social Security side and on the Medicare HI side, is that the amount of expenditures the program can put out there is limited by what's in the trust funds. Now, on the SMI side, that's not really an issue because we just give the trust fund each year whatever is required to keep pace with costs. But once that trust fund runs out, the program lacks the authority to make benefit payments. Now, there have been a lot of legal analysis that have been done of what happens when the trust fund runs out, and they don't all agree. But a fairly common one is that payments would simply have to be suspended or delayed until the requisite financing came into the trust fund, which would have the effect of reducing payments simply by virtue of delay.
And that immediate is the common understanding of immediate. In other words, this present moment in time. In other words, when insolvency happens, then you immediately are prohibited, based on the law and based on your understanding as a trustee, from paying anything further out. And your estimation is that it would be a 17% cut in a benefit. Is that correct?
Well, it's 17% on average over 75 years. Now, it varies according to year. I think in 2024 specifically it's about 10%, but then that increases, and then it becomes about 25% by the mid-2040s.
So it's averaged at, go ahead.
What I think my colleague was describing is when the trust fund became insolvent, money would still be flowing in from tax receipts, and Medicare would delay paying bills. And so a hospital would send its bill in, and rather than being paid in 24 days, might have to wait 5 months. And the CMS would, the intermediaries and other payers would be writing out the checks, transferring the resources to the hospital, to the hospice, whatever, on a much delayed basis.
So that cut, just so I'm clear, is not a hypothetical cut. It's not a hypothetical delay. It's an actual delay in payment to the point of reaching this 17% number based on your own projection. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, the Social Security Act, which deals with these trust fund issues, is very explicit that payments can only be made from the trust funds.
So there's no other flexibility. If the revenues aren't there, if an insolvency is declared, you have no other remedy but to move forward and make those cuts. Is that right?
Right. The programs don't have the authority to borrow in excess of the resources provided by the trust funds.
And absent some change in the program, your prediction is that that is where our nation will be in 2024. That's right?
That's right.
With respect to the hospital insurance system.
I understand. So when the gentleman from Wisconsin said that there's a proposal that's out there by the majority on this committee that ends Medicare, in fact, Medicare as we know it will end in 2024 absent some change in policy or some change in moving forward. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.